Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us, and welcome to the Bob Simmons Show. Well, it was a happy homecoming at Lewis Field Saturday as the Cowboys improved their record to 6-0. Two nationally ranked teams battled for nearly 4 hours in a nationally televised football game. When the smoke had cleared, the Cowboys had prevailed, 33-29 over the Colorado Buffalo. And with me, the head coach of Cowboy football, Bob Simmons. And Coach, each week the game seems to get bigger and the victory just gets sweeter.
Paul, that was fun. That was one of the greatest victories that I've been associated with. It was really a wire-to-wire game, exciting game to watch on TV, and it was good to see this football team play above adversity and come out with the victory. The fans were great, 51 to 50,000 fans, and everything fell into place for us.
Well, let's get right to the highlights, Coach. There were a lot of them to look at. One of the biggest homecoming celebrations in the country began Friday night with a pep rally at Gallagher-Iba Arena, and I believe somebody we know was there to invoke a little excitement among the fans.
I tell you, Paul, the spirit there was electrifying. You know, I've been down here for 3 years, and that's been the most spirit I've ever seen at pep rally.
Good crowd on hand, great crowd. Over 50,000 ignored the rain and the bad conditions and packed Lewis Field for this top 25 showdown. Coach, for the sixth time in 6 games, we win the toss.
Won the toss, elected to put the defense on the field. Came out with a little bit different results because Colorado's a good football team, and they made some plays down the stretch. Here you see our defense really flowing to the ball. I think the real key to their success was their third down success rate, and on this drive they had some third down success rate, blocked our kids, and they came in here to really establish a solid game plan of running and throwing the ball, and they did some good things. They max protected to give their receivers time enough to get open. Then they ended up running the option on our defense, which is something that we got to get better at.
Well, for I believe the first time this year, we give up 7 points in the opening drive, but it's important for the offense responds, and that's what happened.
Right. Well, the challenge for our offense was really going against there's a pretty good defense. This is a play we put in this week, Paul, just for this play, and then Greg Stakes does a nice job. He needs to run a little bit faster, but
was it tackle over formation, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a tackle over, but we had 2 tight ends on the same side. Tried to really confuse them, and the first time we ran that, it worked, and Greg Stakes, he said he was going to take it to the house, but he got halfway.
He got halfway home.
Yeah.
38-yard reception by Garrett Stakes from Tony Lindsay gives us a first down on the CU 32.
And we put our quarterback draw play here, and Tony is an exceptional runner and has been making positive decisions, and you can see we got good blocking here. We go back inside. This is a tough inside run to Nathan down to the 2-yard line here. And this is an option play, which they played pretty well. Very physical up front, kept us out. We chose to go get some points on the board at that particular time, and that made the ball game 7-3 in the first quarter. And chose to put our defense back on. This is a play where we had 2 guys outside, but our defense is still playing hard, running to the ball, mixing things up, putting a lot of pressure. Watch Jamal Williams does a nice job of really getting back out of the screen and trying to run that down. And this is a throw by Hessler, which is inside. Now we go 3 and out, forced him to punt. They did a pretty good job covering RW this ballgame. I know that he had several punt returns before, but they were kicking the ball away from him.
Well, very impressive performance there. Defense 3 and out. The offense sets up, and Jamal Fobbs goes to work for 20.
I tell you, one more step, and he breaks this thing for a long run. This is a nice job of running through tackles, and had that guy not slowed him down, he probably would have taken that ball all the way. But that's a good job by our offensive line. Go back to the option, and that was a big play for us for a first down. Nice job of stretching that ball out. 4th and 1 early in the ball game. Wasn't a tough call, but it was because it was a half a yard, and then we kept our offense going. And here we didn't get the type of blocking up front we deserve, but this is a mixed direction play for Tony Lindsay. Gets him on the perimeter, easy first down.
Well, Tony Lindsay with the bootlegs gives us a first down, and we see Jamal going back to work.
Yeah, nice, tough inside running. Our offensive line was challenged this week, and again, if you flush Tony Lindsay, he'll make you pay. This is our scramble drill where Tony has the scramble, and our receivers. This is Willie Grissom does a nice job of finding the open slot and getting that first down, keeping that drive along. Then I think we end up taking down the Buffalo then, or mascot. This is a run by Nathan. Want to keep his feet, stay inside, but we're really fighting tough, keeping that drive alive. There's another scramble by Tony. The thing that people can't do, if they get upfield on him, he'll scramble on him. But we settle for a field goal here. We got points on the board, and that's the most important thing.
Good ball control, a 15-play, 43-yard drive, 6:06 off the clock, and pulls the Cowboys within one at 7-6. But perhaps a little breakdown.
Oh, yeah, I tell you, breakdown of special teams. We didn't have people ripping to the ball. And this is the young man that took it all the way back against Wyoming. And as you can see, we didn't have enough people around the ball at that particular time, but R.W. McQuarters made a sensational save, and then they take it in on the next play. But that was a good play on their part. We come back in, we got an answer. We moved the ball down the field with Chris. If he keeps that ball up high enough, I think Alonzo's going to take it to the house. This is a nice run by Nathan, I think about 15 yards. Our offense is responding to their particular score, and that was the most important thing.
That's right, seesaw battle after the kickoff return, emotionally down, but the offense comes out and drives the field.
And that's been the key to the whole game for our offense come back. This is a nice throw by Chris, which gets a pass interference call, which keeps that drive alive. And then now we go back with an inside run, nice run outside, good bounce, got to get his shoulders up. That was a good run by Nathan. Again, now this is, we insert Tony Lindsay for an option play, which he fumbled the snap. But again, the most important thing is that we put points on the board, and we're staying close to Colorado this time, and that was important. Those field goals by Tim Simmons were very, very critical.
Brings us to 14-9. Now the defense with a critical 3-and-out.
Well, and that was important. They come in, and the defense has been playing tough the whole ball game. They're playing real hard. They get him, Hessler, to scramble, and he throws it in the ground. We force a punt here. Again, I think on this particular job, we didn't do the best job of blocking up front, but I think he shanked this one. I'm taking it back. And we get great field position. This is just a goose play that we call if they gave it to us, and we go back to running the option, and really a quarterback play with Tony, and he gets about 10 tough yards. You know, he got to put some weight on him now. But he lowers that shoulder, I know.
And he's kind of a wire. Doesn't look like a kid that could run through tackles, but he does a phenomenal job.
That's a great job. And again, this is a good pitch for Jamal around the corner for about 5 or 6 yards, running the option. Draw play back to Jamal Fobbs inside, good, hard, tough running. Ball security is what we talked about. They keep us out, but again, Tim Simmons is the key. He comes in and puts us on the board. It's 14-12, and we're hanging in there now. And our defense gets back on the field, and you can see right now this is a big play. Starting off, it was tough for them to block Jamal. That's Courtney Mallory does a nice job in the bottom of really stopping this run. Gets up, and our defenses continue to play hard, trying to put pressure, and he throws his overthrow. This is a great play in the ballgame. Kevin Williams, if he goes down the sideline and scores, he decides to go the long way around. But he knew what he was doing, and this is a nice score, great touchdown. That right there is a penalty. They didn't call it, but what we're trying to do is really not celebrate. And that's a college rule. This is not the pros. Mm-hmm. You cannot spike that ball. And that's something that our team's got to learn. We celebrate together, not individually. But this is an exceptional run on his part. Kevin is having a sensational year. He gets to the end zone, and that's really our first touchdown.
I believe that's his 5th interception of the year, and I guess he cut back across the green, wanted some more airtime on the highlight show, no doubt. Tim Simmons comes out and is good on the PAT attempt, and now at halftime a 19-14 lead in a seesaw battle as we see the Cowboys celebrating and 19-14 lead. Seesaw battle, Coach. It's a tight one, and we'll be back to take a look at the second half action right after this timeout. Welcome back to the Bob Simmons Show. Coach, we need to get right to the second half highlights because there's a lot of action, but we're going to see here midway through the second quarter, we see the defense on the field and Colorado with the ball at their 33-yard line.
They come back out with the option, Paul, and he fumbles that ball. I thought we were going to come up with it. But we talked about at halftime playing all 4 quarters. We knew it was going to be a tough, tight ball game. And he actually, I think that's Trent Alexander, that he should have intercepted that ball, but he's getting a lot of pressure now from our defense. They're playing with a lot of spirit, and we go back on offense here. I think this is Tony Lindsay.
Right.
This is not a very well thrown ball. Right. We talked about throwing this ball out of bounds if Alonzo Mayes can't catch it, and then they end up coming off their goal line, and we got to do a good job of trying to stop them. It catches in a blitz here. Didn't have very tight coverage, and get a first down on a 3rd down situation. Here's a busted coverage where we're supposed to have a linebacker on the back, and we don't. And again, this series will start to make a little bit of mistake. This is a nice call on their part. It's a screen play against a very aggressive defense. They take it down to the goal line, and then Hessler runs it in on the option.
Well, a 16-play drive, eating nearly 7 minutes off the clock, and the Buffalo go back on top 22-19 in the seesaw fear. Now, late in the third quarter, we see the Pokes back on offense.
Well, you know, the key thing is for us to answer that and stay close to this ball game to give us a chance to win, and we do that. We put Tony Lindsay back in the ball game, make a real nice run. Probably could have got a little bit more out of here. We need some people to block for him up front, but this is a nice throw to Tony, to Alonzo Mayes, and he gets about 15 yards. The offense now is really answering the challenge of that first score, and that's been the key. He's got to make sure he holds on to that football. And then we get down to the 10-yard line and run another quarterback play where Tony gets outside and really takes this thing almost to the 1-yard line, and we're close, and we end up trying to sneak it over twice. And this may be the time that he gets it. Yeah, he sticks the ball over, and then he pays for sticking the ball out there. But it's a touchdown still.
That's right. He was measuring that thing. He took a look
right.
at it before the timeout. Only needed an inch, and he got it. So the Cowboys respond. 9 plays, 66-yard drive. The Sidness PAT is good, and the Pokes go back on top, 26-22. And now
we're back on defense, and they do a good. They've been running the screen all night, and you see some poor tackling here. This is one of the few times that the defense did tackle poor. Good play call on their part. And we need to take that screen away. But now we got to come back and answer here. Fortunately, we get a pass interference call on them to keep that drive alive for us. Run the sweep. This is a tough inside run by Nathan for about 6 or 7 yards. Tony scrambles. This is a big scramble. Nice cut, good blocking. Gets outside, runs into about a 30-yard run, then they hit him out of bounds, which tacked it about 15 yards more, and now we're really close down in the score.
Now, was this a scramble, or was this actually a draw?
Well, it was a draw call, but there was some good blocking at the point of attack.
Well, the receivers doing a great job downfield of blocking the secondary personnel, and the offensive line really battled for 4 quarters. Colorado, pretty tough defensive unit.
Well, I tell you, they're tough inside, and was our best challenge today. And this was an exceptional play on Nathan's part, keeping that ball from being fumbled, and keeps the drive alive. And Tony's trying to make something happen here, and they do a good job of stripping him, and they come up with the fumble. And now it's up to us to really try to get the ball back. And this is when our defense really responded. People are really making good decisions, and we force Hessler out of bounds here. He does us a favor by running out of bounds, but we don't have to use a timeout. And great play on Maurice's part. He was in for a nickel. He baited him to throw that ball. Now we got a chance to get back on top. Jamal Fobbs is running an inside zone play. It was tough running inside all night, and we want to get Tony on the perimeter, and he makes a nice throw here. And I'm trying to debate on, is he throwing to Alonzo or throwing to Sean Love in the back of the end zone? But either way, it's a touchdown.
Well, Coach, great play from to Alonzo Mayes there. Alonzo had 4 receptions on the night, 59 yards, and of course this game-winning touchdown pass. It took quite a shot right there, but this is kind of tough, you know, in an emotional ball game like this. You've got to expect the kids to celebrate, but it costs us 15 yards. This is key.
I don't expect them to celebrate, and that's something.
Well, I was celebrating.
And again, see that kick by Sidness was critical, because that puts us up 4 now. They have to go down and score a touchdown. And that's what happens when you celebrate in the end zone. You put your team in poor position. But our defense responded. Maurice did a nice job of coverage there. This is our last 2-minute drill, forcing them to make throws. And now it's, I think this is fourth down, and this is a key throw by Hessler. Well, this is the last 5 seconds to go, and that's all she wrote.
Sweet, sweet victory as the Cowboys come out on top. Is this some of the players that you
that's Bealey. I coached him as a defensive line coach. He's a class young man.
Well, Coach, the question I think coming into this game was, the Cowboys had won some big games, as we see the final 33-29. The Cowboys have won some big games, rolled over Texas, but how would they respond in a tight football game? I think they answered the question.
I absolutely right. They answered it. We knew that this was going to be 4 quarters, peaks and valleys. You know, we were up, we were down, and this team showed a lot of character and a lot of resolve to come out with victory.
Well, peaks and valleys is right, and the Cowboys come out on top 33-29. We'll be back to take a look at TD's 2-minute drill after this timeout.
TD's 2-minute drill sponsored by Farm Credit. For Ag, for Life.
Welcome back to the Bob Simmons Show. On this week's TD's 2-minute drill, Tom and Wade Pearson take us inside a victorious Cowboy locker room.
I've been associated with a lot of victories, man. This is not about me. It's about you.
It was a bootleg. My first read wasn't open. He got tangled up. I had to look backside, and Zoe was open, so I just threw it up so he can go and get it, and he got it.
He had a throw with some people in his face tonight.
Yeah, I mean, our defensive line is playing. They playing great. And I really thank them and the linebackers for going up and stopping the run and putting pressure on him. And we're just going out there as a secondary and trying to cover long as we can, and hopefully they'll disrupt the pass system just enough so we can get our hands on it.
What was the feeling now from the defensive point of view? You knew you had to come in there one more time and stop them, get the ball back to the offense, and, of course, Simpson helped deliver that. But what was the feeling on the sideline when you fell behind for the final time?
Well, it was a little down, but, everybody just tried to pick each other up. We just came through and was like, we still in the game. It's not over until the 0-0 hit the clock.
It was so important that the Cowboys were able to put points on the board via the field goal to keep the game close.
Yeah, it was. Stuff wasn't clicking in the first half as we wanted it to be. And, the conditions, you have to make sure your plant foot and everything is going fine. And luckily, I thank God, everything was going good. I was hitting on all cylinders. For the offense needed a boost. I came out there today and I really knocked them through for us. So I'm just proud of myself and proud of this team.
Now let's sing that song because we deserve it.
Seniors!
I tell you, Paul, that was fun. A victory like that, to see the smiles on your players' face, a well-deserved victory.
Big win for the Cowboys. We'll be back to take a look at the current Big 12 standings after this. Welcome back to the Bob Simmons Show. Well, Week 6 of the 1997 football season is in the books, and let's get to the Big 12 standings. And hopefully we'll begin with the South Division, and lo and behold, there we are, sitting atop 3-0 and 6-0.
It looks good, doesn't it?
Well, it's shaping up to that. Oklahoma. Of course, we got some games between now and then, but that Texas A&M Oklahoma State matchup could be a big one.
Well, A&M is really playing well. Texas Tech is undefeated in the conference, and they're playing well, and it could come down to our A&M game, but also could come down to our Texas Tech game too.
That's right. Well, let's take a look at the Big 12 North quickly. Nebraska sitting there on top, Kansas State close behind. And, Coach, we've got an open date this week. What do you all got planned for the week off?
Well, we're going to finish the Colorado game here on Monday, grading and highlights, and then we're actually going to go out and practice Tuesday and Wednesday and get ready for our Missouri ball game, and I may give them Thursday off and come back with a special team practice on Friday and start all over again on Monday.
Very good. Well, as a reminder to you all, there will be no show next week. Next week is an open date for the Cowboys, but we'll be back in 2 weeks as the Oklahoma State Cowboys play host to the Missouri Tigers, and we'll see you then on the next Bob Simmons Show. Good night, everyone.